I've seen all 5 seasons of Harley Quinn on Max, and after all the chaos, all the romance, and everything in between, it's time to rank them from worst to best. Now, a lot of you aren't going to agree with my list, and that's completely fine. I want to know what your ranking of the Harley Quinn show is down in the comments below. Having said that, let's get started. Coming in at number 5 is season 4. This one is easily the weakest of all 5 seasons, and the biggest issue is that they separate Harley and Ivy. Harley's trying to balance the hero work with the Bat family, which is at first a lot of fun, and then eventually it just kind of becomes a little bit dull. But then you have Ivy over here becoming the CEO of the Legion of Doom. It had potential, both of those stories had potential, but none of them really panned out in a way that was really that interesting or had a really big payoff. Both of those story arcs just felt messy and really unfocused. Now the comedy, the gore, the cameos, everything that you would expect from a season of Harley Quinn was still in season 4. It just felt like something was missing. That's the running theme of how I felt about season 4. It was still a good season. There was a lot of good things to like about it, but this is easily the weakest of all of them. Coming in at number 4 is season 5. Season 5 does improve a lot on season 4, but it just still doesn't hold up to the heights of the earlier seasons. Now, I loved going from Gotham to Metropolis, the dark, rundown, nasty city of Gotham, and then transitioning over to the bright, beautiful, well-kept Metropolis. Seeing that transition was awesome. And let's be real here, the Harley Quinn show has run its course in Gotham. We've stayed there the entire time. We've dealt with the Bat family, we've dealt with Batman villains. It was time to shake things up. So moving to Metropolis and dealing with Brainiac and everything that's over there, that was definitely the right call for the series, and I'm glad it happened. Now, while I love Harley and Ivy and them together, I love seeing how their relationship has grown, and now they're transitioning over to Metropolis to start a new life over there. I just really miss the old team that we've dealt with the entire series. I miss Clayface, I miss King Shark, I even miss Dr. Psycho. He was amazing. But I just miss the dynamic that whole team brought to the show, and as the series has gone on, we've seen less and less of them, and that is really disappointing to me. And going on to the season 5 villain, Brainiac. When I heard that they were going to Metropolis, I was so hyped. They could have chosen any villain, any Superman villain to be the main focus of season 5, but they chose Brainiac. So my expectations were very high. I wanted to see what he was gonna bring, the chaos, all that stuff. But then I remembered, this is Harley Quinn. It's not gonna be what you think it's gonna be. And a lot of times that works for the show. The villains are gonna act very goofy and weird. Look at Bane. You never would have thought that Bane would be acting like this in media, but here he is acting a fool, and we love Bane for that. But as far as Brainiac goes, he was very whiny, he was very mopey, and he just was not the Brainiac that I wanted to see in the show. Sure, he was funny at times, and I get that, and I get why they went that way. But for me, Brainiac was a big letdown. Also, R.I.P. Coco, R.I.P. And Lena Luthor was a good villain when she became the villain, but at the same time, you could kind of see that coming. She was already Lex Luthor's sister, so there was already that distrust there already. So when she became the villain, wasn't really that surprised. So I just, at the end of the day, wanted Brainiac to do his thing. He didn't. Lena came in, she was fine. The villains overall in the season were fine. Nothing more. Now, one of the highlights of the season was seeing Ivy and Frank's origin story, seeing Ivy's life before she got the powers, before she met Harley, and how she got the powers, and then how Frank the Plant became Frank the Plant. There was more to it. It was very rewarding for watching the show for 4 seasons and up to this point, finally getting our answers of what that was. And it was a little bit emotional. It just added more to the story of Ivy, and that was one of the best parts of the season, in my opinion. Now, one of the last things that I want to talk about is the macaroni, how Alfred became this villain, this hulked out, venomed up guy. That did not work for me at all. That's not Alfred. And once again, I'm trying to remember, this is Harley Quinn. These are characters, and these are interpretations of these characters that we would never think that we would see and how they act, but that was just weird. Would you agree with me? Let me know in the comments if you thought that Alfred, the macaroni whole story arc worked for you or not. Did not work for me. Kind of disappointed in that. Now, it wasn't a bad season at all by any means. It was still a lot of fun, and I respect the shakeup that they did by moving us from Gotham to Metropolis, but I just felt like there was potential for this to rank so much higher on my list than it is at number 4. And coming in at number 3 is season 3. Now, season 3 had a lot of amazing moments, but it just wasn't as consistently good as seasons 1 and 2. Now, hands down, the best part about season 3 is now that Harley and Ivy are a couple. Seeing this finally happen after 2 long seasons, it was really rewarding after watching that and seeing them grow together. And now there's nothing holding them back. They are a couple, and now the chaos can start. The eat, bang, kill tour concept was a lot of fun, but the season, at the end of the day, lacked a real overarching villain to help bring things together and make it kind of stand out on its own. And a special shout out to the Court of Owls episode, because once again, this show is going to take a villain, a concept, a character, and just flip it on its head and make it goofy, weird, or however you would never picture that person being. They did that with the Court of Owls. Standout episode in my opinion. And then you have Joker running for mayor. Well, at the time, I thought this was gonna be a standout subplot of the story. This is gonna be crazy to see the Joker of anyone, the Joker running for mayor and winning to be mayor of Gotham. But at the end of the day, it didn't really go anywhere with that. It was kind of forgettable. When I did my rewatch of the series, I remembered, oh, he was mayor. Did not remember that. So I just wish that they went a little bit further with that to make it more memorable, more impactful, because the idea, that whole idea of Joker becoming mayor, fire. Loved it, but the execution needed some work. Overall, season 3 was a lot of fun. It had a lot of standout moments, just like every other season in the show, but the pacing felt a little bit off. Some things didn't hit, but while at the same time, it still maintained the core of what made Harley Quinn such a great show. Coming in at number 2 is season 1. This season introduced us to a completely unhinged take of Gotham, and it worked perfectly. Getting to see Harley just break away from the Joker, because that's all that we've known her for, right? Her and Joker. She is Joker's girlfriend, and they were just always together, and she kind of lives in his shadow. And that's what this show was built around, and we get to see her break away from him and break away from that toxic relationship and become her own character, her own villain, her own person. And then she gets her crew of Clayface, King Shark, Dr. Psycho, Ivy joins the party. It's amazing to see, and it was executed perfectly. But that was just the story aspect of season 1. You dive into the humor parts of everything, that is a whole other beast. You have Bane's exaggerated voice. That thing is iconic. I love it whenever Bane's on screen with his voice and just the things that he says. The way that his voice sounds makes it sound 100 times funnier. And then you have Batman being this awkward, stone-faced weirdo. He's just so awkward and out of place in this show, and it's comedy. The whole thing is comedy. The comedy works. The violence and the humor of season 1 set the tone of what this show wants to be. It has this vision, and it never deviates from that, and that's what makes this show one of the best adult animation shows I have ever seen. I could watch this season on repeat over and over again and never get tired of it. It is damn near perfect. And coming in at number 1 is season 2. This is peak Harley Quinn. This is after the show got its legs after season 1, and it just takes everything that worked in season 1 and doubled down on it. The war in Gotham was an awesome way to shake things up and just cause as much chaos as possible, but at the same time, you throw Harley in there with her whole team and just watch the fun happen. And all those villains, Penguin, Two-Face, Riddler, they all have their own personalities, so whenever they're on screen, they just act so different and weird, and how they play off of each other, off of Harley, off of Bane especially. It's just great to see. It's comedic gold, just like this entire series is. And then you have Harley and Joker 2.0, which is such a weird thing to see. Joker can't remember what happened in the past. He has no idea who Harley is, and just seeing her kind of help him kind of makes her character feel a little bit more sympathetic and builds that character. But at the same time, seeing them bicker and him slowly remembering who she is, how they were, what he is, that was a lot of fun to see in this season. And the best part about season 2 is seeing Ivy and Harley's relationship become a relationship. Ivy's over here engaged to Kite-Man of all people, and Harley's over here jealous of that, and she's just trying to find her own way. And it's just a really rewarding end to a season after all of that buildup. Love the end of the season. And then you have Dr. Psycho turn into an absolute villain. It was unexpected how he was working with Darkseid. It was really fun to see, and I thought it worked really well for that character. Even though I do miss him, I wish he was in more of the series. So the humor, the action, and the character development were all at the absolute best it's ever been in the entire series, in my opinion, in season 2. So what do you think of my list? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Also, who's the funniest character in the entire series? Is it Frank the Plant? Is it Bane? Is it Kite-Man? Let me know in the comments. And if you love Harley Quinn, I have a recap of the entire series leading up to season 5. You can check out that video right here, and I'll catch you in the next one.